two major orientations that we have. The first is a problem orientation. I can see the chat box. We got all the next 8 weeks to get through it. Don't worry, I won't miss out on it. We're going to get to them. But I just think the feeling I've got right now is just get into some of the processes. I'm really enjoying it. So that's what my intuition is connected to. Two major orientations we have. By the way, we're not going to get through everything in this workbook today. This is at least 2, if not 3 weeks worth of work in here. So the first is the problem. Problem orientation is when we react or respond to the circumstance. Okay? So most people live in this, is that there's something that is now and we're reacting to it. And we call that problem orientation. The next orientation is the creative orientation. This is where what you choose is the driving force. All these notes have been put in the chat box as a link where you can download. The problem orientation is mostly focused on problems, right? And what that means is you see it everywhere in the world. You see it in news, politics, society, and the problem orientation limits your creative ability. Because all you're doing is trying to rid the world of something. Does that make sense? You're trying to get rid of something. Creating isn't the opposite, but it's an opposite motivation. All successful people stopped problem solving and started creating. See, you cannot deserve to make millions of dollars. You cannot be good enough. You just choose it. So you don't deserve it, you just choose it. In the problem orientation, I really want you to get this, okay? It is so crucial. In the problem orientation, the problem is the factor that organizes your consciousness. If you succeed in eliminating what you do not want, there is no guarantee you do have what you want. Problem solving can just lead to unfulfillment. Someone type in a yes if that makes sense to you. If you just rid the problem, you've got nothingness. When you have nothingness, there's actually one thing that's left. The one thing that's left is your desire to rid of problems. An army always needs an enemy to fight against. So if you rid yourself of a problem, if problems are the enemy and there's a part of your consciousness wanting to find problems, it just finds the next problem. This is why you have gone to osteopath, chiropractor, acupuncture, naturopath, this doctor, that doctor, change your diet 20 times, and you keep finding this a new problem, a new problem, a new problem, a new problem. Does that make sense? That's why. It's because this is why if you walk into a Joe Dispenza workshop with the idea it's going to fix you, it works for a little bit, and then you need to go to the next one, and then you need to go to the next one, because it rids the problem. Yes, it does that, but it leaves the consciousness needing a new problem. This is why amazing modalities, emotion code, RTT, like these amazing things, they don't work long term because the person has a consciousness of trying to find the next. This way, I find someone that's been in therapy for 15 years. And so it's the structure, it's not the work. So the opposite, right, is the creative process. The creative process is what you're creating. So it's got one outcome: to bring into the world, okay, an end result. It's to bring in what you want. So you're not there to fix back pain, you're there to create a healthy body. And if you put the body in the right structure, then that body is going to align with that. So the creative process only has one outcome, is to create. Yet most people are oriented to the problem. The creative process is a journey to that end result being created. Now put it this way: if you create a healthy and functioning body, is the problem disappeared? So when you create confidence, has anxiety disappeared? If you create love, is loneliness gone? And so by creating what you want, yes, you do have a life that is void of the problem. If you focus on the problem, you just keep finding more problems. Does that make sense? Does that make, and so you must learn to live the creative process. So the creative process is a journey to the creation. And this is what we must do. We must learn to orient our life like this magical creative process, just like an artist or a musician does as well, right? So you must have your desires be the object of your choices. Most do not go for what they want. Knowing what you want is a skill. You must know what you want, you must develop it, you must go for it, and then you become this super creator. Does that make sense? And then when you become a super creator, you just go, I'd like that functioning body, I want to play that way, I want to do this thing. Focus on it. You pull that into reality, and that which you do not want does no longer exist. So another working premise of this course divides the mind into separate areas. We have a self-conscious thinking, rational mind. We have a superconscious genius mind. And the superconscious is this part of you that will cover a lot moving forward. It's a higher self, inner teacher, and creative inspiration. You can have a look more of that in the notes. However, the unconscious is the key to the manifesting power of the mind. Someone write this down. Self-conscious chooses, superconscious creates, unconscious allows. Self-conscious chooses, superconscious creates, unconscious allows. See, your self-conscious thinking brain chooses where it is that you want to go in life, what it is that you want to eat at that universal restaurant. Your superconscious invents, creates up how you're going to go and get there. The superconscious invents it, creates it, makes it up, figures it out, has genius inspiration. Then your unconscious either allows you to have it or disallows you to have it. Your unconscious is always seeking safety and belonging. What you must have is rapport between all three levels of your consciousness. See, your unconscious is what's going to allow you to have it or keep it or not. However, the thing with the unconscious is it works deductively, okay? It deduces what is true based on what you're teaching it. It attracts what it concludes. The conclusions reached by your unconscious create what you want and have in your life. See, the unconscious responds to your self-conscious direction. In fact, it takes all of your direction as input, and it attracts whatever it concludes. A question that I'm always asked is, if the unconscious manifests what it concludes, and if I'm always telling it what I want, then why don't I have it? How many of you have tried the law of attraction or the secret or the silver method? How many of you have tried these things before? Who's tried these things? And you go, well, why am I not getting it? And the answer is you contradict yourself. Another way of putting it is you give contradictory information to the unconscious. See, most of our contradictions lie in two categories. One, a concern with failure, and considerations of the process. When you want a result and consider all the problems involved with getting the result, the unconscious may conclude that yes, you do want the result, but yes, there are problems in getting the result. See, you must just go to the end result. Someone write this in. I must think what, not how. Think, what do I want, not how will I get there. It is so important to give the unconscious clear suggestions. This is what I want to create, and it will feel good. Considerations of the process limit the way in which the goal can come into being. See, the unconscious always says yes. It says yes to all input, all actions, all thoughts. Consider this example. John decides he wants a car. His unconscious says yes. Then John considers how to get the car, the process. He begins to consider how hard it is to finance a car. And his unconscious says, yes, it's hard to finance. Then John begins to think about cars nowadays, about how hard they're overpriced. The unconscious says, yes, they are overpriced. And taxes. And the unconscious says, yes. And insurance and other costs of car are terrible. His unconscious says, yes. And not even about the cost of gas. Yes. Now John has given himself all of these juicy suggestions. That one, he wants a car, but there are so many problems about having a car. The result of an overemphasis on the how limits his ability to create the result. Who's getting this, by the way? Someone let me know if you're getting this, because I'm going through a lot today to set up this program. The more effective approach is to make clear, strong suggestions to the subconscious based on your choices, and then let the unconscious create the best process. You let it just take place. Self-conscious chooses, superconscious invents or creates, and unconscious allows. This does not mean that you should never not consider the process, only that by using it in the right way, you'll manifest with precision. So, these are the 5 steps of the superconscious creator code. First, you must think, what do I want to create? You choose a true goal. Second, you create structural tension, which is you understand where you are now compared to what you want. Third, and by the way, at step 2, a structural tension creates a path of least resistance and a void. The universe abhors a void. This is a very important point, so much that it's not in my notes. I want to explain it to you. The universe abhors a void. If you dig a hole in the backyard, it's going to get filled with the broken foot, leaves, sand. It's going to get filled up. Does that make sense? If you leave a hole, it will get filled up. Right? If there's a pothole in the road, it will find a tire and a broken tire, right? It will fill it up. Universe abhors a void. True? So when you create a void with step 1 and 2, you say, this is what I want to create, and here I am now. It's like pulling the tension back. There is now a void, which is called a structural tension. There is a tension between the now and then what you're creating. Is everyone following this? There is a void between these two. Now, in that void, you can put one of 2 things. You can either put in the one action that you must take to create it, or you can put in it negative thoughts and feelings and beliefs about how you won't get it. Either way, you will fill that void. You will either fill it with a creative act or negative thoughts or feelings about how you can't have it. But I guarantee you will fill that void. So what we do is step 1, we choose where we're going. Step 2, we notice where we are now. Step 3, we engage consciousness with that end result, which creates energy and tension in this new structure. Then we let the unconscious do what it's always done, filling the void with negative thoughts and feelings. So we let it pull all of that into our experience, and then we recode it out, and then last step is we take action. We literally let the unconscious show us its cards and say, these are all the reasons why I think you can't do that. And we go, thanks for telling us. Then we simply let it all go and then take the action. Who's getting it? These are the 5 steps of the Creator Code, which obviously I explained in my book, You're Not Broken. Right? You choose the true goal. You notice where you are now. You get into the emotion of the end result. You let go of your thoughts, and then you take the action. That, my friends, right on that page, that is how you manifest anything. Over the next 8 weeks, I'm going to implement that into your life so that you live this way always. So, your desired end result. You must pick something that you want to create. When you pick it, the goal must not involve any other people. You do not get to choose for someone else's life. Okay? It can involve other people, but not specific individuals. So you cannot have a goal of, I want my son to be happy. But you can have a goal of, I choose to be the best mom I can be. Does everyone see the difference? You cannot choose, I choose to be in a relationship with this exact person. But you can choose, I choose to have a loving relationship. It cannot involve specific people. You can choose, I choose to be a great magnetic mind coach. You cannot choose, I choose for all my clients to get amazing results. You cannot choose for someone else. It is unethical to mentally impose your will on others. And all you're doing is stealing their power anyway to be allowed to have a life that they choose. You will not be able to impose your will on them anyway. It won't work out. So when you make a choice, the choice is for you. It is totally fine to choose to be the best mom you can be. It's totally fine to choose to do that, to be a great boss, to be a great CB. You cannot choose for other people. They're allowed to have their own experience. Next, your goal should be something tangible. What that means is that you must just know when you've achieved it. You must just know when you've achieved it. Okay? The goal can be material or not material. You must just be able to know when you've achieved it. You must form your end result or goal in the present tense. So I have it. I choose this. I choose this. The word choose is in the present tense. The reason why I call them choices is I'm choosing it. So I'm choosing it. It's just like I'm choosing down the menu. And I want you to think about this. Is creating what you want online is like sitting down and ordering off a menu. That's the feeling. And you're just choosing the steak, or you're choosing the fish, or you're choosing the pasta, or choosing whatever. You're just choosing it. Does that make sense? That's the feeling. When you're manifesting anything, it's just choosing it. It's like either option, you're going to feel fulfilled and nourished, and you're just choosing it. Okay? And it's not really what the goal is. It's what the goal does. If you have the inspiration to create it, let's go create it. It's who you become along the way. Okay? So I talked a little bit about structure. Structure and structural tension is formed by two elements. Okay? So, in your life building process, structure is created by a clear idea of the outcome you want to create and a clear idea of where you are now. Okay? The contrast between these 2 points creates a very useful form of tension. Once we form this structural tension, something special happens. Our minds begin to conceive of ways to accomplish the goal. We do this in order to resolve the tension. The mind, like everything else in nature, if you have a kid on a swing and you pull the swing back, there's tension for that swing to fall forward. Does that make sense? This is a natural law. The mind can generate 2 types of ideas. The first is convention, using tried and true methods, or invention, which is where you invent it. Most of the time, you won't have the resources that you need to create what it is you really want to create. So we will use invention. And I want someone to type this in. Think what, not how, and then not how, but who. Not how, but who. Most of the time, there is a who that will help you achieve what you want. There are 3 types of structures. The first, as we've explained previously today, is the oscillating structure. This is created with contradictory information. So oscillating starts off, you don't have the money and you want money. However, at the same time, money is bad. So as soon as you earn the money, your identity says, but money is bad. So you have 2 contradictory ideas. 1, you want to earn money, and 2, you want to give money away because having more than others is bad. And so what you see is someone, as soon as they make the money, they're already thinking about all the people they're going to give it to. So they give it all away, then they have no money again. See, people have this same structure when it comes to health. They want to have a fit, healthy, successful, sexy body, but if they're to have that, there's an unconscious objection to having that. So then they just start eating the wrong food again, and they go around in this cycle. And so the way that it happens is we have a desired reality that we're trying to go to, but our identity doesn't match up. Are you guys getting it? It's a bit of repetition there, isn't it? But are you getting it? Yeah. So there are other structures. The next structure is stuck, like a fence post. Okay? An oscillating structure is like a swing. Stuck structure is like a fence post. It can happen in 2 ways. CR stands for current reality. DR stands for desired reality. A stuck structure is when there are too many desired realities, and someone just says, I want the eggs, I want the fish, I want the chicken, I want the pasta, I want the dessert, I want the this, I want the that, and they don't know, they just keep going around, and they never make a decision. Has anyone sat down and seen someone do this on a menu? I just want so much. You just got to pick one. Okay, so that can cause them to be really stuck. They just spin and spin and spin. Another way that someone's stuck is they have no desired reality. They just say, well, whatever shows up. Whatever shows up. So those are two ways that we stay stuck. The way that we want is we want to have a flowing structure. This is where there's a disequilibrium between the two realities, and there's a tension or rubber band created between the two, but the identity is the same. So we're the painter, the successful painter, and we create the masterpiece. We just move towards it with ease, okay? It's very important. Now what happens is there's a fourth structure, and this is very important to get, which is the reinforcing positive loop. And this is so important to get. Is the reinforcing positive loop is the key to massive success. As we take action towards a result, it increases our action. For example, with most things, something called the Matthew effect takes effect, which the more you have, the more you have. So as soon as you move towards it, you get more to go towards it. I see this right now, like on social media. I have like 70,000 subscribers on YouTube, and so because I have that, it's easier for me to increase my subscribers than it is someone starting out. The more you get, the more you get. If you look at health, if you just start getting a little bit of health, it feeds itself back. But the bottom one is the best one. Most people do not get to create what they want because they never allow themselves to learn. When you allow yourself to learn, you get this feedback loop of structure where you just start rolling towards what you want. One of the biggest things we have to recode and let go of is our fear of failure, our fear of not knowing, our fear of being a beginner, our fear of others' judgments. Because all of these things stop the learning structure. Give me a yes if you get it. Stopping the learning structure and to go forward, you take an action, get a result, get feedback, learn, take a different action. That kills the creative system more than you could imagine. If you haven't created something yet, I want you to get this. You do not know how to create it. You do not know. If you haven't created it, you do not know. That's okay. Every single thing that you want to create that's worthwhile creating, you don't know. We have to get over this idea. We don't actually know. You don't know how to create it. If you knew how to create it, you would have already done it. True? You don't know how. And so since you don't know how, you have to be willing to learn and fail and stumble and create magic. All of the magic, if you haven't created, all of the magic is in this idea of not knowing. We're going to allow you to be able to go into a place of not knowing and to get out there and create. Because most people face resistance. Most people face resistance. When you decide to fully go for something, this part of you resists it. It steps in and says, you shouldn't have that for these reasons. And that resistance stops you. It's just a safety mechanism. I'll let you read that in your own time. But are you guys enjoying today? Because I am thrilled with how many people are excited about this. It is so cool. There is so much resistance to people going out there and doing something new. It literally kills their creative power. They just won't fail. Does that make sense? And they just won't fail. And they won't allow themselves to fail. And they won't allow themselves to just go, you know what, I'm going to go for it. See how it turns out. We're so conditioned that getting it wrong was a bad thing. Or we think it's finite, We think it's finite. We think we can't go. So anyway, we have a recode to help with that, which we're going to cover today. And the recode allows you just to let go of this fear, because all fear comes from past experiences. Okay, so I'll come back to the recode when we're going to do it. Okay, so back to this code. There is a 5-step superconscious creator code, which I've talked about, and we're going to help you step into brand new choices over the next few weeks and go, these are what you're going to create. And so, as I said, the creations are: choose your end result, create structural tension, step into the feeling of having it, recode any resistance, and take aligned action. So we're going to go into doing all of that right now. So in your notes, everything that I've explained about those choices is written out there for you. So that's really easy. So who would like to go through an exercise right now, choosing goals and doing recode? Who wants to do that? Who wants to do that to kick us off for a great next couple of months together? Should we do a big recode? Yeah. So we're going to go through this recode. We're going to go through all of the steps in detail. And then I've got extra things sitting here in your notes. So some of the extra premise that we'll be going through over the next few weeks with how orientation creates reality, the power of love, unconscious agenda is driven by a sense of incompleteness, polarization. We're going to go through identity matrix, how to chain and claim a new identity. We've got an amazing, many people ask about the logo. We've got a process that goes with the logo. We've got the superconscious teacher technique, and this is just in the next few weeks coming up. So it's really big. Now, for those of you who haven't decided whether or not you want to join the Manifest Anything, here's exactly what's involved. There is 8 weeks live sessions with me, and they're all like this, and they go for 2 hours every single week. Okay, we have the Superconscious Magic 8-week course. By the way, I thought, how am I going to price these sessions? So I thought I'm going to just price each session at $199. That's why it's $15.92. I was like, does that seem like a fair price to you? Is each of these sessions, would you pay $200 for 2 hours every week with me to do sessions like this and understand consciousness? Someone type in fair if you think that's a fair price, right? So anyway, that's how I got to that price. The Superconscious Magic program is sold online for $9.99. That's included. The brand new Sleep Yourself Rich program and Money Mind, that's included. That's sold for $9.99. There's a 3-day upgrade workshop, which you will get. They will get it straight away. That's already been done, so you better go through that straight away. We sold that for $14.95. And there's a downloadable replay of every single call with notes. It's going to be awesome. So anyway, program sold individually for $5,085, but I think worth way more than that. And the offer for us to kickstart this thing, it's $9.99 for the offer. And so it's $9.99. If you pay in full, you save $111. And then there's a monthly payment of $333 times 3. Now we do some bonuses. I'm giving you 20 visual superconscious meditations, the emotional mastery course, and the foundations. And as a big bonus down the bottom, you're the only group that will do it live with me. So I'm going to do it live once, and then I'll put it on replay for everyone else. So if you haven't got it, that's what's available. So we will have a quick break, and then we are going to do our recode. Does that sound good?